So chapter 2 says the following. In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought to him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. This is Nehemiah writing. Right? So that means he gave the wine to the king. He was working in the courts of the king. King Artaxerxes, now the king of Babylon. I had not been sad in his presence before. So the king asked me, why does your face look so sad when you're not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of heart, said Artaxerxes the king. I was very much afraid. This is Nehemiah writing. I was very much afraid. But I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my ancestors are buried lies in ruins, and the gates have been destroyed by fire? The king said to me, what is it that you want? Then I prayed to God of heaven, and I answered the king, if it pleases the king, if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city of Judah, where my ancestors are buried, so that I can rebuild it. Nehemiah had never had a sad face in front of the king. But in this instance, he was sad. And the king saw it, and he asked him, what is it? You don't seem like you're ill, like you're sick. So it must be sadness in your heart. And then he gets the courage. You see, he says, I was very much afraid. My brother, my sister, there are going to be instances, there are going to be times where you and I are going to be afraid. But he prays to God, and he gives him the courage. That's what I want you to see. You're afraid, I'm afraid. All we can do is pray to God for courage. Amen? Let's continue. Then it says that he asked him. He told him why he was sad. The city of his ancestors, where all his ancestors are buried, is in ruins. That's why he's sad. And the king himself asked him, what do you want me to do? What do you want done? And then I want you to point this out. And then he says, then I prayed to the God of heaven. You see, my brother, you see, my sister, we ought not to stop praying. I'm not saying that he prayed out loud, but he prayed in his heart before he spoke to the king. That is much like what we need to be doing before we open our mouth in front of a boss, in front of, I don't know, whoever. We need to be praying in our heart. Lord, give me the courage, give me the words, the wisdom to speak to this person. And he found it. And then it goes on, I like to read it, the whole thing to you, but it goes on, and he not only asked for permission, Nehemiah not only asked for permission to go back to Israel, to Judah, and to Jerusalem, and to rebuild it, he asked for more things. He asked for letters of safe passage to the governors of all Babylon, the kingdom of Babylon, right? He asked for, and he says that, could you ask the keeper of your parks, Asaph, to give me lumber, to give me timber, to rebuild. I mean, he asked for letters of passage, he asked the king to go, he asked for wood to rebuild, and the king not only gives him all that, but he sends him off with guards and soldiers. Isn't that amazing how God works on your behalf? So long as you're doing the will of God. Amen?